trying to backtrack. And you should have kept my name out your mouth. As we go, how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going, give me something you can talk about.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I've come to you yet again to talk about more updates in this case that has gripped the nation. Okay, the world even. We are talking about David D4VD. Now, I did see just right off the bat, I did see a theory yesterday that even the name itself, the spelling of the name, could technically be not David, but also DEAD. And the underlying theory for that is like that people sometimes use V instead of A because V kind of looks like an inverted or like an upside down A. In and of itself, I would be like, okay, that's a little bit of a stretch, but like I've actually seen that before. Like Neem, he has that in his name instead of A's, he has the V's. So maybe David, I don't know, maybe, he was doing something like that. I don't know if I believe that theory because specifically, I mean, his name is David. So, I don't know. Maybe that just gives him some plausible deniability, girl. I mean, I really don't know. I did want to bring that to your attention though. So yesterday was kind of like a weekend update. I had collected things over the course of a few days. And then it was like over 2 hours. I think it was 2.5 hour stream yesterday. Today's isn't, well, I shouldn't say it's not going to be that long as yesterday. It might be. I don't know how long it's going to be. But I can tell you that yesterday's, notes page that I was reading off of that I was referencing, it was a lot longer. So I don't know exactly how long today's video is going to be, but I do have less links to go through. I have fewer links to go through today. So that being said, let's get right into it. The first thing that I want to show y'all is a YouTube video. This is in no particular order, but this was actually out yesterday. Hold on, let me close everything else.
What's up,
Coolin TV again. Shout out to him because we did react to one of his videos. I don't know if it was yesterday or a couple days ago, but we definitely have seen his videos on this channel before. This is Coolin TV. Now, this video is entitled David reads a note on stage saying tour is canceled. This is his last performance. Okay. Let me turn the speed on up to 1.25. Again, I do like to show y'all and tell y'all exactly where I get information from. This is the video Coolin TV posted 12 hours ago. That was September 22nd, 2025. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but I do want to just show this to you because it's being reported by Coolin TV that this is the last time David, might ever in his life be on stage for a concert. This is the last performance ever, apparently, or at least as of, now, it's the last performance because, his tour got canceled in the US and then the international tour dates also got canceled. So let's see what Coolin TV has to say.
Welcome to Coolin TV. You already know I'm coming to give you some more creeps and chills on this whole David shit. Now, we all know when the police found the body in the car, all right, David was on tour, and that was on September 8th when they found that body. All right, he was still doing shows, and his last show was on September 15th. So for like a week and a half, this nigga was doing shows, not saying nothing, knowing that he in the news. The fans wasn't even saying nothing.
Okay, again, y'all, when I'm watching other people's videos, I don't really have that much control over like the words they use and stuff. That's their channel over there. They can say what they want. But he's just kind of going through the timeline. He's saying, all right, so we know that the car was towed on September 6th from the neighborhood to the tow yard. Then 2 days later, September 8th, that's whenever the body was found. But David's last tour performance, he was on tour at the time, and at the time, really nobody was suspecting him. It was a body found in his trunk, but he's like 20 years old. I shouldn't say nobody. I'm sure some people were, but just the general vibe of the public sentiment was that David was just, maybe knew something about it. Maybe it was in his car that this happened. However, he was on tour and he had a pretty solid alibi as far as the public was concerned at first. So he just kept going on, show after show. And I understand why. A lot of people did ask, why didn't David stop touring? If all this stuff is going on, he's doing all this stuff. Why didn't he ever stop? Before then, he should have, out of respect for the victim. Y'all, I know that y'all already know this, but just to remind you, you got to understand, a lot of times it's really not even up to the artist whether or not they perform. I mean, a lot of them are in these contracts. They're like $6-8 million, $100 million. I mean, there's so many reasons why these artists have to continue performing, and they have fans. I never was of the, oh, why doesn't he stop touring mindset, because excuse me, because it was very clear to me why. There's pressure, there's money, that's his job, all of that stuff. Well, that's all been canceled now. However, there was a little bit, and that's what this video is talking about, the discussion going on in this video right now. There's a little bit of time, like about a week or so, where he was still going on his tour dates. He was still going to perform. So this is, this concert we're going to look at a snippet of. This occurred during that sort of no man's land period, like between the time the body was discovered in his car, or the body parts, or whatever you want to call it, and the tour getting canceled. There was some other stuff going on as far as him going on tour, or doing shows. So this is one such show. This is apparently allegedly the last one. Carrying right on.
At his shows, but y'all pay attention to this. So at his last show, one of his managers or one of his dudes came up and they handed David a note while he was performing. All right, they handed him a note, and in the note it says, "Stop singing, the tour is canceled." This is on September 15th on this video y'all finna watch. But after he reads the note, he gonna continue to sing, knowing that it's his last performance, y'all.
David's final performance, a note was slipped into his hands.
Okay.
Warning him he was cooked, that he must not sing.
So this is another source. This is another source. I guess this is where Coolin TV actually got the information from. This is some sort of a TikTok or a reel or a short or something like that. It says David gets a note of news while on stage. Quote, "Tour canceled. Don't sing." As you can see here, let me remove the captions. As you can see here, he is holding some piece of paper in his hand. Now I do know that Romantic Homicide is his most popular song. And I was actually watching just some of the news this morning. I was watching Banfield. She had that TMZ show on there again, and they were talking about, why hasn't David been arrested? Why hasn't David why hasn't any more information come forward and stuff like that? So we are getting a little bit of information here. What I think is interesting is this is his biggest song. So it's most likely that that's his last song anyway. If you've ever been to a concert, which I know is a lost art at this point, it is not unusual for an artist or a band to wait until the very last song to play their most popular song. This is for many reasons, but one reason is, to force people to sit there and listen to the other songs so they start liking them too. Another reason is because once people hear their favorite song or the most popular song, sometimes they might leave the concert, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So pretty much every concert I've ever been to, like the biggest song or the most recent song that was a big song is what's going to be played. So it may have been already the case that this was already going to be his last song, not like, oh, get off the stage, don't sing, stop singing or whatever, because he does move forward and sing the song. So I actually find it hard to believe that the note would say, do not sing. As you can see, we do not see the note. We do not see what he is reading, but it is being reported that this is the moment that David is informed that his tour is over. He had to have been expecting news of the sort, or at least been aware that that is possible, that his tour was going to get canceled in the wake of all of this other stuff going on. The same way that he has to be aware that it's possible that he may be arrested for this crime. Alleged crime. I personally will say it does not look good for him. The circumstantial evidence is really adding up. However, I have not seen a smoking gun. I did not see a video of him doing it. I did not hear a confession from him. I also didn't hear a denial from him. At first, we heard that he was cooperating with the authorities, but apparently now he's not. We'll get into that more later. But I did want to just lay that context out there, because whenever I am showing y'all other content creators' findings. It is simply to just show you that, for the most part, it's simply just to show you that someone else is saying this. And then I'll kind of investigate and look into the allegations myself on live. Usually I'm going to reserve the right on making a decision. Like usually I'm not going to want to make a decision point blank right out, especially without enough information. We just simply don't have enough information. I do all these disclaimers because this is very serious. I mean, this is really, I mean, we have people, hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of people out here pretty much putting a body on this child. You know, I mean, he is a grown up, he is a grown man, but really the only thing that I've seen solid evidence for is that his social media accounts have possibly been posting some things that I would certainly not post. And I've seen solid evidence that there are pictures of him with Celeste. Now, I haven't seen a single picture of him kissing her. I haven't, maybe they're out there and I just didn't see them. I haven't seen a single picture of him doing anything sexual or even romantic with her. I've seen pictures of them together. I've seen videos of them together. It don't look good, but these are pretty much the most serious crimes that you can accuse somebody of, you know, unaliving someone else and abusing, you know, a person upon that has not yet reached the age all the way of majority, meaning somebody under 18, of, you know, abusing someone in that capacity in the sexual type of way. I mean, these are some of the most heinous and unforgivable crimes that there are. So that's why when you come over here, I'm not taking up for David. What I'm doing is making sure that I am not pinning something on David that I don't really have evidence for. That is my personal philosophy. That's what I do. So if y'all don't like that, I really don't know what to tell you. Just go do a video on your own channel, I guess, because this is a serious situation, serious crimes. Now, it don't look good. It does not look good. From the looks of things available online, he might have been carrying on with a you know what type of relationship with Celeste. But for really all I know, for sure, all I know, it could be they were just friends. She ran away from home because she was being abused and tortured at her home and David was keeping her safe. I mean, we really just don't know. But it is very hard to give David the benefit of the doubt. And I imagine that the public is having a hard time doing that because his music and his art is so dark and it is macabre. You know, some might say he sings about death in every song. Every music video I've seen has weapons, death, a murmur, blood. I mean, every music video I've seen has death. So it is not looking good. And we are going to look into some unreleased music today as well. But I just wanted to start out with that disclaimer again today because these are very serious crimes. And while it most certainly does not look good for David, we don't know if he's maybe, you know, guilty of one crime and not the other. Maybe he's completely and totally innocent. I personally would find that very hard to believe. However, it is possible. It is totally still possible. Okay. We don't really know anything. We don't know what they found in that house. We don't know who drove that car. We haven't seen images. We haven't seen videos. We really just don't know. But that's why I come on here every day and continue to give more information because I'm finding more information and this is exactly what we are going to need in order to get to the bottom of the situation. For me, what's most important is catching the person who actually is responsible or the people who actually are responsible. It isn't just like, oh, David looks like a convenient target, let's blame him. Although I do fully admit it don't look good for him. And in my subjective opinion, he probably at least knows something about what happened. But again, that's just an opinion. I would need more evidence. Let's move forward in watching this video.
Defied the omen, raising his voice one last time for the final farewell.
Let me rewind.
Again, he was cooked, that he must not sin. But David defied the omen, raising his voice one last time for the final farewell.
Okay, I must say, where was this? Where was this belt? Where was this belting voice whenever he was at the Genius playlist, the Genius headquarters studio? You know, David Ross, you know. Where was this belt, this beautiful angelic belt? This is much better. This is much better. He must have got a singing lesson, or maybe, before they go on stage, they get possessed with a different demon. Maybe he got possessed with the demon that could sing. Or whatever, girl. I really don't know. All of a sudden he could sing. That's a good thing to know, because I was very concerned when I heard my, you and I. Okay, anyway.
David's final performance, a note was slipped into his hands, warning him he was cooked, that he must not sing. But David defied the omen, raising his voice one last time for the final farewell.
See? Good diaphragm support. He doesn't have that throaty. He's opening his mouth. Okay, good, better.
So y'all can see when
Way
he read
better.
that note, he knew he was cooked. He knew he was cooked. So he just
don't know
let
if
it go.
that's
He sung
true.
as loud as he could. He knew it was his last show. He knew he probably wasn't gonna touch that stage again. And bro, I ain't even gonna lie, this nigga can sing, bro.
He can
but you know what
sing.
they say?
Agreed.
The devil had a beautiful voice
Yep.
too. Bro, this demon ass
They
nigga
say,
got such a
I don't
nice
know
voice.
if y'all
But
know this or not, but the Bible says, the Christians believe, or, the ones who believe the Bible, that Lucifer, the devil himself, was like an angel of music. He was like in charge of the choir in heaven. Like music is the way, music is the key to the, kingdom of darkness. I mean, that's what the Christians believe. Now, I'm not a practicing Christian myself, but I certainly believe some of the things, the Bible says for sure. So, interesting to note. Now, what I will say is, there seems to be like two different people's commentary here. It's like Cool and TV, but then he's commenting on somebody else's video that they made. And I'll just say, I didn't really get that from, the video. Personally, that's not what I would have said. Like, oh, you can tell from his face he knows he's cooked. If anything, all I can tell is he learned how to sing between today or this September 15th and then the time he did the Genius playlist. Because when he was doing the Genius, it was and now this is just beautiful. I mean, beautiful. I wish he was singing something else, Amazing Grace or something else. But that Genius, I mean, something just, maybe he had the COVID that day. I mean, I really don't know. Truly.
bro, it's crazy. All right, but y'all
look
seen
at
that. All
this
right, he read
guy.
the note. He knew the tour was canceled. That's
Y'all
what it
see
is. But y'all
him?
check this
He's
next
all up in
video
the
out,
grill.
y'all. All right, y'all know I be bringing y'all the content, so make
Okay,
sure you
let me
subscribe.
see.
Now, in this next clip, y'all finna see David was at a recent show. I'm not sure which city he was in, but bro, you can see this shit was eating him alive. This man done killed a 15-year-old girl, and he's singing a song
Allegedly.
called Afterlife. All right, y'all probably heard it before if you've been into this David shit. So he's singing Afterlife, and he start crying on stage, and the guilt of this girl being dead, you
yeah,
can
this
tell is
part's
just eating him up,
crazy.
y'all.
Look
All
at
right, now
his
y'all check this out.
face. He crying. Dang. Is he gonna sing the song, or I mean?
So shit is crazy, y'all. Y'all can tell exactly what was going through that man's head while he was singing a song called
Okay.
Goddamn Afterlife. I know.
That's pretty much what I wanted to show y'all from that video. No, I mean, look, big baby. No, I'm not joking, but everything is relative. The theory of relativity. The first acapella time I heard him singing live was the Genius playlist. I keep saying playlist, was the Genius interview or whatever, and he was singing the same song, and it sounded like, and I am not exaggerating, a goat that was in pain. A goat that was in pain. Okay, so I was like, there was no diaphragm support. The mouth was barely open, and the black eye why you die. And I didn't cry. And I was like, okay, it's a goat on benzos in pain. It's just, no, I don't get it at all. But now I'm hearing this and it's like, all right, that's okay. That's better. Thank you. Anyway, so a goat in labor, I've never heard a goat in labor, but I can imagine it might have sounded something like that. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next topic, and this one has to do with his alter ego. What song is playing?
Tommy means it means pain. His
Okay.
pain ended in. You say she
Hold
might
on,
be
let me
going-
pull it up.
Oh my.
This is from September 19th. This was posted, but this is more about that alter ego. Remember when we talked about his alter ego yesterday, and it was like a cult leader and he had a cult following around him, and they would help him bury bodies and then they unalived him or whatever, and he was like, and it means pain or whatever in Japanese. So I have some more information on that from another content creator. This is Imoni Stump, and it's a little bit of a video. So it's 30 seconds long. Let's see what she has to say about this alter ego.
Guys, so you actually might be onto something. I ran to Google to see what a Tommy means. It means pain. His pain ended in August of 2025. You say she might be gone for a month. You might be right. But he had a memorial and his fans attended. He had a real casket in there and fans were really leaving messages. Another thing that was creepy, he actually had a funeral director there. Unloading the casket. This is creepy.
For what? For freaking what? He had the obituary for this Itami February 2023 through August 2025. So this character he put to rest, but the character started in 2023, February 2023. Itami from the David universe. February 2023 to August 2025. August 2025 was last month and could have also been the month that Celeste became no longer among the living. But it could have been September as well. It for me. Okay, could be, because he likes to use that A, that V, that different, all of that. Okay, so I wanted to show you all that. What else? Speaking of Itami, let's go to David's Instagram itself. So these shirts are no longer for sale. They're pulled from the merch website, but he does still have the Instagram post up. David with the blue check mark. He's got the 3 Ds here. And look at this setup he's got going on here. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the nose, Band-Aid, but this is shirts. These are shirts that he is selling. And it's the same as, you know, this type of wardrobe that the Itami character was wearing. Now, at the time, February 13th, 2025, this Itami fictional character would have still been alive. Now, yesterday he said this Itami character was an agent of chaos and, you know, just like kind of a bad guy, the alter ego that kind of, you know, he turns into for his music videos or whatever. But I'm kind of like, I mean, girl, did you turn into that alter ego to do something else in August 2025, right before you were decommissioned? I mean, I don't know. This definitely does play into the acting craft of being an actor, being in theater. People do kind of like live their lives as characters. And this goes back really centuries. And people kind of start living a different life. Jim Carrey is a method actor. Heath Ledger was a method actor. He lived as the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is a method actor. Ariana Grande is a method actor. They kind of become the character and just don't switch out of it until they're done with the character, done with the movie. This, I think, is great if, you know, it doesn't affect you mentally at all, but I just don't think there's any possible way that doesn't affect you mentally. I mean, look what happened to Heath Ledger. After he played the Joker. I mean, he was actually gone by the time the Joker movie came out, I think Heath Ledger was already dead. So he did decommission this character. And it's kind of like, I mean, was he living as the character while he was writing the album? Shia LaBeouf is another method actor, and Shia LaBeouf and Joaquin Phoenix and them, I mean, they would like actually participate in like criminal activities. Like Shia LaBeouf was like basically living as a gangster, like a Los Angeles gangster at one point because he was playing that in a movie. And he was like really having horrible, like relations with the people in his life and stuff. He just wouldn't click out the character. This happens a lot. So I'm almost wondering, like, did David just sort of adopt this character to role play and to method act in order to write his album and go on his tour? Why is it that the thing that the character died at his first show? I mean, there's just a lot of questions I have. Maybe it wasn't his first show, but it does say August 2025. Again, too, y'all, like, I don't know where this came from. Somebody could have photoshopped this. I mean, I could probably make that on Canva right now. So I'm not even sure of the authenticity, but I have seen place after place after place, person after person after person saying that he was, he did have this sort of alter ego. He also did talk about it. And we played that yesterday. I played that yesterday on the channel for y'all to listen to, the interview that he did where he was the character and he's like, I have this alter ego and he's this agent of chaos, etc., etc. But here, this is February 2025. This year. It says limited edition Tommy Withered. So Withered's the name of his tour and his album, I think. Cover vinyl out now and custom bloody shirts made by me. So if anybody bought any of them custom bloody shirts, I need you to bring that down to the DNA testing lab, girl. I need you to go see. Exactly. Somebody said 23 weeks ago, what do you mean my bloody shirts made by me? On my website now, go get some. You got the blood again. Look, it's like blood everywhere. Okay, this is weird. How many did he unalive this time? But this is 31 weeks ago. See, as you can see down here, comments have been limited here. So I can't even leave a comment on here if I wanted to. But all these comments are from before this news. I mean, Celeste was probably even maybe still alive at this point. This was all the way back at the beginning of the year, this year. Now Celeste was missing. She had been missing for almost a year at that point. But wait. No. Yeah. Because it's just back in February this year. She went missing March last year. So limited edition, a Tommy Withered cover vinyl out now, plus custom bloody shirts made by me. Laugh emoji, wilting rose emoji. What do you mean bloody shirts made by me? Te amo, heart eyes. Blood again. How many did he unalive this time? Someone wrote in, what is this? I don't cuantos. That must be some like Spanish. How many did he unalive this time? This is 31 weeks ago. This is before any of this news broke. Somebody said hard. Love your music. Keep up the great work. Spanish comment. He doesn't know how much I love this. I love listening to him. You're mad cute. I'm just scrolling to see. I'm just scrolling to see what these comments are. If y'all want to, if y'all want to pause and read. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's anything too much more going on here. It has 80,000 likes. My God. Okay, well, anyway, let's scroll through. What in the hell is this? This looks like the Blair Witch Project. I don't know what the hell this thing is. This is the album cover. And this is another thing too, like, I keep reiterating it, okay? And like, I don't actually think there's really anything at all, strictly speaking, wrong with even making an album that has some homage to death, or like making a music video that has some, violent tendencies or themes. I know some of y'all might think it, but I don't personally think it's just necessarily just wrong out the gate. What I start to wonder about, and what starts to look really bad, even if this guy is completely innocent, is look at the cover of the vinyl. It's all just unaliving and blood and death and gore. It's I guess supposed to be trying to be cool. I don't know what this big wheel is. I'm gonna take a picture of it though. And he does have he has some spray bottles with what appears to be fake blood. But this also reminds me of Lil Nas X was selling shoes with his actual blood in it, which seems like a biohazard to me. It's probably fake blood, truly, but it's just when your whole entire brand from exactly altogether, it's creepy. The thing in the background is a balloon that has a number 4 in it, and it's red with wraps over it. It's a balloon with wraps over it. Why does it say the number 4? Yeah, they have handprints on them. Maybe it's the 4 because the name David. Makes sense. A lot of people are making this comparison. It's Portuguese, not Spanish. Thank you for the correction. Only word I really recognized was the cuantos. So I don't know. Smudging the screen. Tony Hawk did it too. Yes, that is disgusting. That is disgusting. That is nasty. He's nasty for that. That being said, it's not, it just doesn't look good. A person by the art they make, a person by the company they keep. This is kind of one of those things. And I do believe that, young men should be allowed to have their little moment of creative expression, young women as well. And I actually think most people, it kind of evens out. Certainly that was my experience. By the time you're in your 30s, you're kind of all right, there's definitely some really bad stuff going on out here in the world. So maybe, I need to look at the brighter side of life and stop being so emo all the damn time. I personally, everybody has gone through this to some extent. It's the hero's journey, as they say. Everybody likes a comeback story, but I'm just going to say it's going to be really hard for him to come back from this. I'm just going to say it's going to be really hard to come back from this. And it has a lot to do with the art that he has made. Somebody's art is not enough to prosecute them. However, I do think that somebody's art can tell you a lot about them. And we're not just talking about the front cover. He is making shirts to appear like they were involved in a gruesome and violent, probably unaliving. He's looking at making them. He's making them. Could he have made these same shirts with a bunch of different colors and so it wasn't red, so it didn't look like blood? Yeah, he could have made them with red and white and blue and orange and pink and a bunch of different colors on there. No, he intentionally has made this to look like somebody died or killed something in the shirt. And again, he really likes the imagery of destroying purity. He likes to take the Hello Kitty and make it gothic. He likes to take the, little pink nails and make it evil looking. He likes to take the clean white crispy shirts and put blood all over them. He likes to make art which is a destruction of purity. That is what it is in my artistic analysis. I did take fine art surveys, so basically I'm an expert. Okay. He has 4 personalities in his anime headcanon. Oh, that's interesting. To my knowledge, the autopsy report has not been released. And I imagine that's because they're waiting for a toxicology report. I don't know how long that's going to take. I know for an average citizen that can take up to 3 months. So we'll see. Okay, moving on. Now this is a little rough. All right.
Done their homework,
Actually,
and they really started.
I'm not even going to do that one yet. I'm going to do that one later because I might want to end off on that one. Let me move to, okay. So another creator that I really like is Chronicle Speaks.
The amount of people coming together, giving to the family,
So
GoFundMe.
she made a video yesterday entitled David No Longer Cooperating with Police. Plus, Celeste's family got chilling call before body was found. Now, this is a 15-minute long video. I do encourage y'all to go and watch the video. It is very good. There's two parts of it that I wanted to show y'all. And the first part of this video I wanted to show y'all has to do with Gore. I'm going to call it Al Gore so that I don't trip up any, you know what, over here. But it means gratuitous graphic violence that's caught on camera or picture, video, whatever. Okay. And there's people out here that like to look at that. They used to call it, there's other names for categories of it. Like, for example, SNUFF, if you can spell that one out and say it to yourself, like these are, depictions of horrible and horrifying graphic violence. Okay. I'm going to call it Al Gore, but if you know what I'm talking about, it's just the last name. That's the name of it. Okay. So that is around the 10-minute and 50-second mark of the video. So let me go there. We'll start at 10:40. And I want y'all to hear, the reason that I'm showing you this is because I want y'all to hear what's being reported about David's content consumption. This is very important because this is how kids get groomed. I think some kids are born sociopaths, maybe 1 to 3% of the population. They're just born troublemakers. But then the rest of the kids are getting groomed. And I just cannot look at this David story and the David scenario, even looking at him up there singing on stage. Like, there's still a part of me that believes that deep down in there, at least one of his 4 personalities is like just a regular like kid from like New York or whatever. And he's like got morals and values like really down deep in there. So the question then becomes, if that's the case, how did he end up this way? Even if he didn't do the things people are thinking he did, he wrote these songs, he wrote these lyrics, he did these music videos, he made this detestable art. So how does a kid end up like that? And how do any kids end up like that in general? But then specifically, how did these people end up like this? How did it end up being where the music and the art that he wanted to make was about becoming unalive, other people being unalive, him unaliving them? I think it has a lot to do with what he was exposed to on the internet, including this Al Gore.
So strong.
February 19, 2023. On Discord, David says, I like writing gory psychological drama, romantic quote, and a lot of death. Someone says, you're so effing real for that.
Before I embarrass myself, I need to spell check something, because that ain't how you spell gory, I don't think. No, it is. No, it isn't. Okay. So I made this observation yesterday that David is what I like to call a pseudo intellectual. Someone who thinks and probably genuinely believes that they are very smart. Someone who probably acts condescending to 12-year-old girls, for example. That I like to think of him as a pseudo intellectual, and people like that. And the reason that I think he's a pseudo intellectual is because on the surface, he seems so deep and emo and emotional and vulnerable and, smart and intellectual and cerebral. But whenever you just kind of like sit there for a minute and listen to him talk, you start realizing he's just an imposter. He's just faking being smart. He's possibly smart. Okay. There's a difference between being smart and like specifically traditionally educated. But the pseudo intellectual is someone who is traditionally educated in the traditional education system and then tries to act like they better than you because of it. But really, they don't actually even know what in the hell they're talking about. So David would be one of these types of archetypes, in my opinion. And this is another example of it. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't about to unfairly criticize him, because really, This is supposedly something that he wrote 2 years ago. This was 2023. I like writing gory psychological drama, and that is not how you spell gory. That is not how you spell gory. It's how you spell gore, Gore. That is the noun, gore. But gory is a descriptor of something. It's an adjective. It's an adjective. Gorily would be an adverb. Okay. I know all of this because I went to school for like 30 freaking years. I went to school for longer than anybody should. Okay. So I ain't not me trying to act like I'm better than somebody, but I can tell you for sure I know how to spell gory. I just had to make sure. I even typed it in. Look, gory can refer to the adjective gory, Gory. So yet again, we're getting more indication that this kid wants to pretend and act and project, and he's a kid. He's a child. I mean, he's an adult. When I say he's a child, what I mean is like his frontal lobe didn't finish developing. I don't mean he shouldn't be held responsible for his actions. What I mean is he's just a kid. How could he possibly even know everything and all the things? But he is out here trying to act like he does know. He has effed around so hard as a pseudo intellectual that now he has found out. I was in Gangland Neem's live yesterday, and he was live for a while. Somebody said he got FAS. Y'all are ugly. Who said he got FAS? Girl. Anyway, so Neem was saying yesterday on his live, he was talking about David too, and he was like, maybe he was just trolling with all this death and gore and violence and this and that. Maybe he was just trolling. And I said, yeah, trolling can get you 15 to life if you're good enough at it. Because all this death, all this gore, all this, look, I like writing gory psychological drama, a lot of death. Okay, well, whenever a body turns up in your trunk, good luck explaining yourself, even if it was trolling, even if it was just fantasy. And that's why I told y'all when I was covering the Tory Lanez case, when I was going through it every single day, that you got to be careful what you write your songs about. Just don't write the lyric, because people always think that you can, use it as a defense in court. Like, oh, it's art, it's First Amendment. How about just not having to ever even defend that? Okay. Like, there's certain things you should absolutely say under the First Amendment. And there's some things that it's like, okay, well, what do you really expect whenever you are literally being accused of murder? And all your songs are about that, and all your Discord crap that you have about it. And this is leaving aside the whole implication of him being with a very much younger girl, a runaway, which if he was in with her romantically in any way, that's a crime. I'm not saying he was. I didn't see any pictures. I didn't see any videos, and I never want to. I don't know. These are two separate serious crimes. But the pseudo-intellectualism, I think, has really gotten him up a creek, and there's no paddle to be found. Okay. Anyway, let me rewind like 10 seconds and let me let y'all hear my girl Chronicle Speaks. I really like her channel. I've been subscribed to her for years, maybe 3 or 4 years.
It was so strong.
February 19, 2023. On Discord, David says, I like writing gory psychological drama, romantic quote, and a lot of death. Someone says, you're so effing real for that. He says, I love gore. Someone says, gore is what makes something serious real. David says, I use it to desensitize myself. David says, I watch gore to disconnect the part.
In 2023, this was the month Itami was born. Okay. Itami was born, this character, this alter ego, was born February 2023. In February 2023, David was typing, look, this is February 19th, 2023. I love Gore, Al Gore. February 19th. February 2023 is whenever this alter ego was born. I Love it. He said, I like writing gory psychological drama, romantic quotes, and a lot of DEATH. That's unalive. Then you have some probably foreign state actor or Hollywood handler setting him up, okay, pushing him further into this depravity. You're so effing real for that, they say. I love Al Gore, David says. This is the month that Itami was born. So do you remember earlier in the video, it might have felt like I was just wasting time saying the same thing over and over and over again. Whenever I said we need to look at what the people are watching, are taking in on social media, are taking in on the internet, because it can actually mess you up psychologically. The same month he is saying, I like Al Gore, is whenever Itami was born. But that it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. He has another comment.
Real for that. He says, I love Gore. Someone says, Gore is what makes something serious real. David says,
Al Gore is what makes something serious real. That has to be a bot. That doesn't even mean anything. Is what makes something serious real? What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's a robot. What does that mean? It's not even a sentence. Gore is what makes something serious real. What? Well, David didn't worry about whether the sentence made sense or not, because he was typing right back, apparently, according to these screenshots. Look, I don't know. I'm watching Chronicle Speaks' video, so I'm assuming this is a real screenshot. I have absolutely no reason to believe she would just be making this up. I actually totally believe it. It checks out. It tracks. He says, I use it, meaning Al Gore, to desensitize myself. Okay. He said, I like writing gory, psychological dramas, and a lot of unaliving. I love Gore. I use it to desensitize myself. He's going to say something else about cutting off a part of his personality that doesn't want to deal with that. Okay. So what I am describing, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you're ready for this information or not, is in fact a type of mind control programming. They used it in the MK Ultra declassified files, where they expose victims to extreme violence, extreme sexual kinks, other extremes like extreme temperature, extreme scheduling where you're staying up, sleep deprivation, light deprivation. Now, I don't even necessarily think all this stuff is all bad, because I do stuff to myself. Like, I've learned what MK Ultra is, and I literally self in MK Ultra myself. I learned how they brainwashed people, and I brainwash myself to become a better person. So I don't even think it's necessarily like that bad to kind of MK Ultra yourself. Like, I did it with Wim Hof. Like, at the Wim Hof winter retreat, I jumped into and then now he would never call it MK Ultra. And I kind of it's just very, very colloquially, I'm calling it MK Ultra. MK Ultra was a government, a CIA and FBI sponsored mind control project like 50 years ago. Allegedly, they stopped doing it, girl, but we'll see. They might be calling it something else now. However, the government does not have to be doing the MK Ultra to you. Okay. You could be doing it to yourself. You could read the files and you can do it to yourself. How do people become desensitized to things? By seeing it, by doing it over and over again. You really become desensitized. This is what's going wrong with fertility in this country. It's why half the men within sexual reproduction age can't even get it up no more. Am I preaching or I'm preaching? Because they're dopamine receptors are so spent, aka desensitized. This is exactly how They are grooming your children. Desensitization. Okay. Again, I did it to myself. That's why I jumped off a cliff in Poland into a freezing cold spring. It really rewired my brain forever. I can have a much higher cold tolerance. Used to be I couldn't even walk outside without a jacket in like November. I would just now that was 2-3 years ago I did that. Actually, around the same time he was getting MK Ultra'd, I was jumping into a cold spring. I went into a freezing. It was below freezing. I was in Poland in January. I went into a creek up to my neck that was like below 30 degrees. The only reason that it wasn't frozen solid is because it was moving. I can go out in the cold now much easier. Now, all that to say, these mind control and desensitization and dissociation methods are studyable. They are studyable. And the information is just all out here. What is post-traumatic stress disorder? What is it? It is something that happens to you whenever you're in an extremely traumatic situation. It rewires everything. So one of the symptoms of PTSD is something called dissociation. Dissociation, where you kind of come out your body, you split it off. Whenever children are abused at a young age, a very common phenomenon is memory loss. They just don't remember that. They just don't remember it. Like it could have happened, but they just don't remember it. And sometimes they never remember it. And this is a protective mechanism because the human body and the human brain is only meant to withstand so much. There's some things that happen that are so horrible that as a protective mechanism, your brain will not store the memory. So all of that to say, these are not things that is necessary for a government to be doing. These are not even things that it's necessary for a foreign terrorist state to be doing. It doesn't have to be being done by some like, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's the CIA. It's the FBI. No, it could be freaking Interscope. It could be your handle. It could be Corey Gamble. I'm just saying these names because they came to my mind. I'm not saying they're actually doing them. Okay. That being said, Harley Pasternak, the one that was with Kanye West, he did work with the Canadian CIA last I checked. So, I mean, this is why there's so many conspiracies surrounding him. However, David was watching, apparently, according to these screenshots on Chronicle Speaks, Al Gore type of material. And these are things that the human brain isn't really supposed to see a lot of. Remember that whole PTSD thing, what I just told you about? So there's always exceptions. There's very strong-minded people. Two people can go through the same exact trauma at the same exact moment in the same exact spot in the same exact everything. One of them's just fine and he's ready to go drink a beer. And one of them's never going to be the same again. Okay. So everything is individual. Everything is individual. Everything is unique, case by case. But we do see the same month that this character was born, Pain, the agent of chaos, he was watching Gore to desensitize himself. Could it be to dissociate himself? Could it be to traumatize himself so that he could split off an altar to go on stage? You tell me, girl. I don't know. Anyway, let's see what else he says.
Writing gory psychological drama, romantic quote, and a lot of death. Someone says, you're so effing real for that. He says, I love Gore. Someone says, Gore is what makes something serious real. David says, I use it to desensitize myself. David says, I watch Gore to disconnect the part of my brain that feels empathy to the wrong things. Another user says, not gonna lie, some Gore videos are fun.
I use it to desensitize myself.
Serious real. David says, I use it to desensitize myself. David says, I watch Gore to disconnect
to disconnect the part of my brain that feels empathy to the wrong things. What is the wrong things? He's self MK Ultra programming himself. Whether he would say that's what he's doing or not is irrelevant. Whether he even acknowledges or knows that's what he is doing is irrelevant. Okay. He is watching traumatic violence. And y'all, I'm not even allowed to say, like, to even describe what kind of materials these are, okay? But it involves people often at the moment of death. These are things that people and humans are not supposed to see. These are like, like the Charlie Kirk, something like that. It's stuff like that. But even more, because the Charlie Kirk was like instantaneous and it was over. It was a couple seconds. There's like hours long productions of this stuff. There's thousands, millions, who knows how many pictures of this stuff. It can mess you up. Somebody added me to a Gore group chat on Twitter a couple years ago against my will. I did not know. I did not ask to be in it, and I have left that group, but they added me into it a few years ago, and I left it a few years ago. And it was like, bodies. I just opened the group chat and there was a couple pictures, and I left out. I did not leave the group chat for a couple months because I didn't want to open it back up to open the chat I just didn't even want to. Okay. It was years ago. I saw a glimpse of maybe 2 pictures and they were grainy. It wasn't videos. It was 2 pictures and it was horrifying. Horrifying. But I bet you if it was just my job or something and I had to look at it every day, I would become desensitized. I mean, in a way, you kind of have to be. Like, if you're like, let's say you're a brain surgeon. Let's say you're a mortician. To some extent, you better be desensitized. To some extent, you have to be to do your job. But that is making me wonder, why was David desensitizing himself to empathy? He said, I watch it to disconnect the part of my brain that feels empathy to the wrong things. What is the wrong things? Watching people get killed? You should feel empathy to that. So why is he watching this? And what it makes me wonder is, how deep and pervasive is this problem? And what is this weird little side aspect of this whole thing? Like, watching extreme, gratuitous, and graphic death, violence to get rid of empathy from your own brain? Whoa. I mean, once that happens, put them in a cage. Like, we have empathy so we can live in a society with other people. If you don't have empathy, then usually you don't need to be around other people. Usually. Now, there's some people that don't have any empathy. They don't experience that emotion at all, but they're logical enough to realize that they'd rather just like get along in society than go to jail. So, some people with no empathy can survive out here in the world. Most people with no empathy, it's not going to be a good calculation whenever they run into somebody that's vulnerable. He's on purpose getting rid of his empathy with looking at this stuff. This is crazy. 2023.
Brain that feels empathy to the wrong things. Another user says, not gonna lie, some Gore videos are funny. Username Andre says, what's the first time?
Somebody asked him, David, when's the first time you watched that type of stuff? He said, I saw a cartel execution on Reddit when I was 14 years old. So my suspicions appear to have been accurate. David was also groomed online. Remember yesterday when I told y'all, just right there on Reddit, they'll be having links to the cheese pizza. This keeps coming unclipped. I need a snap. It's like a little hook, but it keeps coming undone. This dress is vintage. It's from the 90s. Anyway, whatever. You get the point. When's the first time and look, who is this Davy? Not gonna lie, some of them are funny. This is how it happens. I'm giving y'all an example of how, when I've been talking to y'all for a month now about how kids are, it's 11/11, Make-A-Wish. I've been talking to you for a month now about how your kids are being groomed online. And this is how. This is another type of desensitization. Some bot, some foreign, actor, some person who's trying to infiltrate the United States of America and our youth in order to make us a weaker nation. Who freaking knows? Maybe it's a sociopath. Maybe it's a demon. Maybe it's a robot. Some Gore videos are funny. Okay, Dustin Dern. I want to be funny. I want to be funny. They're not funny. It's not funny. It's not at all funny. Shut up. Not funny. No, it's not. No, it's freaking not. It's not funny. But you have a whole Discord of people. Oh my god, so funny. This Gore video is not gonna lie. Some of them's funny. What? David said, I saw a cartel execution on Reddit when I was 14. That's the first time. This is how it happens. This is how it happens. When he was 14. So then when he was 18 and came across a 14-year-old, he was good and primed. He was good and groomed. He had seen that video long ago.
You watched Gore, David. David said, I saw a cartel unaliving on Reddit when I was 14 years old. Now, we have seen the alleged Celeste wear a ring on her ring finger with David tattooed on the inside.
So that was the Al Gore part. That's all I pretty much had to say on that one. And I do want y'all to hear this part as well of the video. This is the other part of the video I wanted y'all to see. This is the sort of like engagement ring. Or were they engaged? Did she have a David tattoo? Part of the story.
That finger several times. And then this page, which was known to be one of Celeste's ghost pages, Hello Kitty Life Girl, also has a picture of her in front of David and that same ring finger, same tattoo on the inside. Many people are wondering, where is the investigation? Where are they going with this? Well, the medical examiner has this case still listed as deferred. The body is ready to be released, and now we're playing the waiting game.
Let's talk about the possible causes of death in the Celeste Rivas case. I'm a forensic scientist and a former CSI.
Okay. So then that... Wait, what? What are you talking about, Wolf Beats? I haven't heard about that. Shout out to Mickey. Thanks so much for being a member for 4 months. Glad to see you haven't ascended into the sky. No time soon, girl. Oh, you mean for the rapture? Yeah, no. Jesus ain't going to take me on the rapture. I have to stay here and do a job. So unfortunately, I'm on assignment here. I don't get to go in the rapture when y'all go, but it's going to be all right. Thank you, James, for the 10 for Rapture Snacks. You are funny. For the 10-pound super chat. He said this is for the Rapture Snacks. Thanks so much to Unnamed and Unindicted for the $2 super chat. Good morning. Good morning, BJ and friends. Shout out to cousins in the chat. Thank you, Chad Hodel, becoming a member. Thank you, Strange Currencies. Nice to see you here again. Thank you for the 14,900 IDR. Thank you, Sarah B. Creative, becoming a member. Thank you, Sour Girl, for the $4.99 super chat. I think he's a schizophrenic with a side order of psychopath. He has Brian Koberger eyes. Well, I'm glad you're mentioning schizophrenia. I'm glad you're mentioning that because that is often what someone who has been too programmed develops. Now, of course, there are some people that just, get a schizophrenia diagnosis, but very many people who were subjected to mind control programming type of programs develop schizophrenia. And a lot of people who are subjected to psychological drugs against their will or even, street drugs in their will develop schizophrenia, and then later they don't have it anymore, and then they'll be like, oh, it was drug-induced schizophrenia. So I actually don't really think that doctors or anybody really has a very solid or accurate understanding of what schizophrenia actually is. And so for that reason, I think a lot of stuff gets kind of piled into this schizophrenia category that isn't schizophrenia at all. That isn't to say that schizophrenia doesn't exist and it isn't real. Of course it is. Of course it exists. Of course it's real. But is every single person diagnosed as a schizophrenic necessarily schizophrenic? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I think there are rampant misdiagnoses. And if you remember, there's this other category of personality disorder called dissociative identity disorder. This is the new name for what they used to call multiple personality disorder. And I think it's important just to remember the name of that originally was multiple personality disorder because people would split and dissociate into a totally different character. Then they would just be called schizophrenic. But a lot of times it was because they were really, really traumatized as children, as young adults, even as adults, and they end up in a position where they just are dissociating all the time. So it looks like multiple personalities, but it's not. It's something else. It's trauma, dissociation, coping, or something else. I mean, you could call it multiple personalities if you want. They don't call it that anymore in the medical field. Now they call it dissociative identity disorder. But I'll tell y'all, my grandpa, he was diagnosed as a multiple personality disorder, paranoid schizophrenic, and I can promise you he didn't have none of them symptoms before he tried the government's drugs at Woodstock. Okay. He didn't have not one symptom of schizophrenia until he started going to these hippie music festivals and doing drugs over there. The family lore is he lost his mind. He had a psychotic break at a music festival. That's the family lore. But now, knowing what I know, who put the psychotic break drugs at the music festival? Don't worry. I don't do drugs at music festivals, so they're not going to be able to get me. Anyway, I have a lot of opinions on schizophrenia. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Cora, for the $5 super chat. No empathy means no soul. Huh. Seems like it. Life of Samad, thank you for the £4.99 super chat. That's why those social media checkers are talking about desensitization after seeing so much group. Yes. I'm glad you said this because I was thinking about this, Samad. I was thinking about this too, and I just didn't say it because I didn't want to get off on a whole nother rabbit hole. But yeah, there's like social media checkers, these like content moderator checkers, and their job is to basically like go through the things that get reported. Like, let's say it's Facebook and somebody posts something that's like, let's say some Al Gore type content on Facebook. Well, let's say, you report it. You're like, oh my God, this is not supposed to be on Facebook. This is showing somebody losing their life or something, let me report it. Well, sometimes it goes to an algorithm for review or whatever, but sometimes it goes to actually a real person, a real human being. And these human beings have done interviews and to various levels of anonymity and stated basically like their life is ruined. Like it's just image after image after image after image after video after video after video of the most horrible and horrific stuff you've just ever seen in your life. And it really messes these people up. It messes them up. So, yes, it did remind me of that. Thank you for bringing that up, the life of Samad. And thank you for the £4.99 pound super chat. Nikki, member for 4 months. Thanks, BJ. Love ya. I think he's guilty. Could be. I'm totally open to that. I am totally open to that. Could be. I don't know. Personally, I wasn't there. Yeah, some people do LSD or strong weed and it causes psychosis. In my understanding, that doesn't cause like lifelong psychosis. That's kind of what we were dealing with. So, actually, if anything, I think the weed made him more normal, to be honest. He kind of got a little bit more down to earth whenever he took some of that. So, medicinally, of course. He's dead. He's no longer among the living. Yeah. Pinch said worst schizophrenia is paranoid schizophrenia. That is what I haven't. I'm more scared of people hurting me than hurting anyone. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, look, I'm not schizophrenic. I was very, very, I was scared. I was scared. Anybody with a schizophrenic grandpa is like just counting the moments till, you turn like 25 or whatever, because they say if you kind of make it out of your early 20s and you don't have it, then you don't have it. I was worried, I'm out of the woods. I do not have a single symptom. I mean, other than the downloads from the mothership, but we're going to leave those to the side. I just don't have it. But I was definitely concerned that I was gonna get it. I mean, the man had problems, and he was like it was like a dark person too. Like, also, just side note, like totally unrelated. He was just kind of like a scary, like weirdo. Like he did a lot of drugs. He was an alcoholic, and he would act strange. He would do weird stuff. He would say that his Satan was his brother. No, what did he say? He was the son of Satan. Just some weird stuff, and I rebuke. Some weird stuff, and I rebuke. And he's no longer with us. He's been dead more than 10 years, so whatever. Yeah, look, Bella said, "Yup, schizophrenia runs in my family on both sides." I was scared too. The ideas from trauma. Yes. Yep. The ideas from trauma. Yep. Oh my God. So this was forever, Kiki? Kiki said a girl I went to middle school with did bad MDMA and reverted back into a childlike mind. She was taken out of school. It was wild. Wow. Wow. Anyway, so maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I really don't know. I mean, I do think some people do be taking the 420 and having a little bit paranoid moment. I just didn't know it was like a lifelong thing. Yes, please do misspell names of things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yes, some people do get paranoid whenever they have the 420. Okay. So what else are we looking at here? We did the ring. Okay. So then there's this Banfield video where she says Celeste was actually 12 years old when they started
far back as October
dating.
of 2022, when Celeste Rivas Hernandez was just 12. Let me repeat, 12 years old. At that time, David, the singer, was 17 and taking part in a group chat with his fans on Discord.
Okay.
And in the chat, he wrote,
So this is Ashley Banfield. It's just a little short on Instagram. This is supposedly a transcription of a Discord message from October 2022. So remember, Tommy is alive and well at this point. Okay. He was born in February. All the gore has been gored and watched, and desensitization has been going on for a good 6-8 months. Celeste and David say hi to each other on a Discord chat, and they seem familiar with each other.
Celeste in here? To which someone named Celeste replied, "Hi, David, bark." The two seem familiar with each other, which means if this really was Celeste Rivas Hernandez in the chat, whose birthday was September 7th, they may have actually connected when she was only 11. Fast forward, December 2023, a demo of a love song by David leaks out online, and the name of the demo song is Celeste. Days later, on January 11th, 2024, David appears on a live stream with a girl who looks an awful lot like Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The girl tells him, "We need to delete this." David tells the moderators, quote, "Mods, can we delete all vids? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too?" The following month, February 2024, Celeste Rivas Hernandez goes missing for the first time before returning home. February 26, 2024, David posts something on TikTok, and another user comments, and I quote, "Waiting for LAPD to get your ass for messing with a 13-year-old girl." A month later, March 20.
So that was a month before she went missing. We went over that timeline yesterday, but I really wanted to just show y'all, there's starting to be evidence that David was aware of and talking to Celeste at least as early as when she was 11 years old. Okay, so I wanted to show y'all that. Next thing, brought a casket on stage.
Earlier, I caught up with TMZ's executive producer, Charles Ladabodier.
I'm gonna look through the
Here's our
transcript
conversation about the case. I'm always curious when it comes to a vigil for someone who is a victim of a violent end. And for all we know, I don't know how Celeste.
Okay, so we're around the 3-minute mark of this video. This is on News Nation. It's Banfield interviewing the TMZ show. David brought casket on stage, made music video showing body placed in trunk. So we're going to go to the 3-minute mark. It's only about a 5-minute, 20-second clip, but I'm at the 3-minute mark. I want y'all to see the thing about the casket on this stage.
Casket on the stage, part of the act. Then there's music video with a body being put into a trunk. Again, none of it would stand up in a court of law, but looking at all of these things together, it does give you a picture of somebody whose mind works a little differently.
It definitely works a little differently, and but on the other hand.
Okay. De La Dank said, I know a lot of little kids who play Fortnite. That's wild. I didn't even know you could talk to people on there. The more you know. They met on Fortnite when she was 10, they saying. And Fortnite gave this man a deal. Throw them under the jail with him. If he did it, I don't know. Innocent till proven guilty. She was 10, he was 16. It's too much. It's too much. Like compared to a 10-year-old, a 16-year-old's like an adult. Compared. Everything's relative, okay? I'm not talking about 16-year-old with an adult either. A 10-year-old and a 16-year-old? No. Monica said you talk in group chats. You don't talk in the games. Okay, good to know. Video games can be dangerous. The online ones for sure, Sleuthy Sweetheart, because of the access adults have to children. It's true. Okay, so now let's go to the next thing. This is changing the bio on his alt account to shh, apparently, allegedly. This is from Reddit, a post from Reddit a day ago. David changed bio on alt from, I don't know what it is, to shh. Before David became David, he had other accounts, mostly focused around gaming. He had a few names. Flukes, Chronic Ant, The Disowned, etc. Anyways, one of his alt accounts was called Ant Level. 3 days ago, someone posted about this already, and you can see how the account was linked to David. Back then, his bio was, I'm sorry. But if you check the account now, 3 days later, it was changed to shh. I can see why he would change the bio, LOL. Poor David, somebody said, can't go an hour without remembering yet another burner, another post, another shared playlist that seems to strongly suggest he was abusing a child and maybe even unalive. Man was framing himself. Somebody said the arrogance is staggering. In the alternate universe where he didn't do it, it's almost hilarious amount of colossal missteps and tragic coincidences. And that's where I am with it. I mean, I know that people do get set up in Hollywood, okay? But let's go to that other post they clicked on. Okay, so this is from 4 days ago, old Reddit account and Twitter accounts. Somebody said, I went down a rabbit hole of David's past, mainly his gaming history. With this being said, I came across some evidence. With gaming being so prevalent in his life, I knew it would have some connection. David's first gamer tag was FaZe Trexper. Soon he changed it to TTV Floix, and then eventually Chronic Ant. The main focus is going to be Floix moving forward. Floix is David's old Twitter. It's suspended now. Some accounts associated with him are ParaVZX, Chaz75, Blix WTW. David's other account, The Disowned. The Antville bio says, I'm sorry. Someone said, wait, this is creepy. The bio was, I'm sorry in your screenshot. It must have been changed in the last few days because now it's shh. Somebody said, Jesus Christ, bro. The way he's just lurking on the internet is insane. Someone get this man out already. So let's look through here. So these are his gaming receipts that he found. Happy birthday. Okay, this is on David's birthday. Chaz said, replying to Floix, happy birthday. I want to see the one where it says, you got this, Floix. Floix. The disowned Antville. Okay. So this Ant level account, ANTLVL, I'm sorry. That's what it used to be. But now it says shh. Wait, who's this? Is this Ant? Other gaming name? Singer David has tattoo that matches one found on 15-year-old. Okay, so I don't know who these people are. I'm not like fully convinced that's him, but it's interesting nevertheless, to say the least. Do with that information what you want. Detroit 313 said he's gonna lose it if he's in a cell without his gaming. Yep, and his group chats. Seriously, Ashley, you're out of the woods, I think. You're fully out. I think you're out. You made it, girl. Congrats. We made it. All we get is downloads from the mothership and psychic visions from the Lord now. All right. Okay, so okay. Now I want to talk about this unreleased song. This unreleased song about murmuring a woman in a car. Okay. And when I say murmur, you know what I mean. Somebody said, saying it again, investigate Tarek. He said, do you go by, is it Tarek or you do Tariq? As I would say Tarek. Saying it again, investigate the whole Fortnite Discord server. Exactly. In-house tattoo artists. Yeah, no, I mean, you gotta be real careful with that type of stuff, Andrea. Especially you don't know where stuff's coming from. Okay, so this is the Discord, the Reddit post I wanted to show y'all. New unreleased David song talking about murmuring a woman in a car. I got time to, okay, I'm going to be taking some artistic liberties with the pronunciation. With the lyrics here. You can read it on the screen if you want the uncensored, okay? But I'm going to be going with approved words. I got time to unalive. You got time to feel. We got blood to spill all over the new car seats that I'm sleeping on. Okay, I see what he's trying to do, a little chain smokers. Where the mattress, where did I go? She's right on the corner of the mattress that you stole from your roommate back in Boulder. You ain't having any on. Right, he's like, okay, well, you stole the mattress from your roommate. It's like a young, like, ha 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 kiki, like I'm sleeping in my car, whatever. But like, you know, he has this like $20 million mansion or whatever. It's kind of messing up the branding here, but he's like, I'm gonna sleep on the car seat. Okay, we got blood to spill. Our love isn't real. Don't tell me how you feel. Signed your heart like a deal. That's given 764, the 764 cult, where you have to like do blood contracts. Remember, the lyrics go on, that when you see me, remember that when you see me, what we agreed upon. Oh my God. That's an ominous little stanza. He says, our love isn't real. Don't tell me how you feel. Signed your heart like a deal. He's like, I don't want to hear your freaking mouth. You already signed the deal. Remember that when you see me, what we agreed upon. Ugh. Silent treatment when you see me. You're not speaking, but you're bleeding out. That's from a DJ Academics post of this song. He says, Academics confirmed the authenticity of an unreleased song by David, where he talks about murmuring a woman in his car. I got time to unalive. You got time to feel. We got blood to spill all over the new car seats that I'm sleeping on. And y'all, again, it does not look good. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And yet again, why are we singing a song about killing someone? Why are we singing another song about blood? Why are we singing another song about this unrequited romance? I mean, Taylor Swift sang 15 and a half albums about unrequited romances, but I don't think she ever was like, I'm going to kill you on the back seat of the car that I'm sleeping on, haha, running around with blood all over her shirt. And if she did, I bet it was 1 or 2 videos. Okay. It wasn't the whole career. You could sing about heartbreak without it being like, and I'm going to kill you. Let's hear the song. I don't know if I'm going to listen to the whole 2 minutes, but hopefully we'll be able to get a gist. It's kind of a cool, like, song. Like, not the words. See what I mean? It's kind of like 90s punk inspired. Like, it's kind of cute. Okay. He should have led with this one. He should have led with this one. It's a bop. I mean, I wish that it wasn't so creepy with all the context, but like, what a cute song. I mean, it's a bop. Benny Blanco must have wrote this one. And then he ruins it. Okay. Speaking of having time for stuff, Monica, please block this person from the channel. But the AI riddle room forgot or wasn't informed. I don't work for them. First the fuck of all. So if you think you're going to come over here and tell me what the fuck to do, you're not. Goodbye. You're blocked already. Goodbye. However, I need to make an example of you real quick. It definitely has Cobain vibes. It definitely does. I am not going to ruin my time on this godforsaken prison planet because other people don't know how to act. All right. There's already so little in the world that's beautiful and good because people fucked up. Okay. And this bitch is in my chat telling me I can't dance to a beat without being accused by this imbecile of glorifying a murderer. I mean, there's just frankly so much to unpack. First of all, innocent till proven guilty. We don't blame people for murmur over here, ma'am, whenever there's not evidence yet. I have been saying for an hour and 27 minutes and 48 seconds that it doesn't look good for him. I've called him everything but a child of God. Stupid, a pseudo-intellectual, an idiot, okay? But I'm sick and goddamn tired of not being able to enjoy a freaking song. I mean, can we get a 1 in the chat? I can't enjoy a damn thing. I can't drink a drink. I can't go to the store. I can't listen to a song because stick up their ass bitches want to tell me dancing to an objectively good beat is glorifying a murderer. Not to mention the fact that this woman is in here blaming a quite literally innocent black man, quite literally innocent legally, for being a murderer and a PDF file. And then to add insult to injury, thinks they're important enough for me to give a shit if they unsubscribe from my channel. Get your crusty ass out of here. Goodbye, you stink. Bye. Make sure you unsubscribe from my other channel on the way out. Sick of y'all. Questions, comments, or concerns? Say them to the Lord in your prayers tonight. The song is a bop. Like I was saying, I wish it wasn't like possibly a confession. That makes it kind of bad. That makes it kind of bad. So let me go back because she freaking ruined it. So let me go back. Okay. Okay. Still demonic. However, somebody helped him write that thing because that song is good. Like the beat, the music, you know. But all that being said, I mean, why do we have to blood all over the back seat of the car? Like, girl, why we had to do all of that? Why do we have to do all of that? And I think we might know. I don't know. We'll have to see. We will have to see. So now I want to get to that other video that this one's a little heavy. This one's a little dark. I mean, not that all of them haven't been, all of the topics. Yeah, that's the only one that has the right sound. And it's not in this weird, like off. It has to be Benny Blanco on the track. Like he is a detestable and grotesque beast, but he knows how to write a freaking bop. So this video from Wig TV came across my algorithm. I believe it was maybe yesterday or the day before. But there's some pretty heavy stuff gets talked about in here. Technically, this video is about the Hoover's Rico. You know, that's where Nova, you remember Nova? Put it in a chat. It does. I'm glad somebody said it. Somebody said, don't bring Machine Gun Kelly into this. It sounds just like something he would sing. I like literally had that same thought. It sounds like a Machine Gun Kelly, like pop, like Kurt Cobain, Nirvana inspired pop for 2025. Like it does sound like that. That being said, like, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. Y'all have ears. You know that the song sounds cool. His voice sounds way better in it. Yeah, people are like, yeah, it does sound like Machine Gun Kelly. It definitely has the Machine Gun Kelly bop. And he can write a bop too. Did y'all hear that new song he made? It's called Cliche. It is good. And he had another punk pop song a few years ago, like 5 years ago, that one about you know, my ex, that makes it all feel complicated. Yeah, it all seems complicated. I read those texts that you sent to yours, and I'll never say it. Yeah, I'll never. You walked in my life at 2 a.m. My boy's new girl is your best friend. Act like you don't see me. We'll play pretend. Eyes already told me what you never said. Now we're in the backseat of a black car going home, and she asked me, is it wrong if I come up with you? We're both drunk on an escalator and I kiss her for the first time in New York City. Oh my God. He can write a freaking song. Yes, he can. Thanks so much, Mr. Lord, for the $10 super chats. I love that song. Like, I'll put it on. It gets me in a good mood. I like happy, upbeat songs. And I mean, the words are kind of grotesque. Like they're cheating on their exes with each other or something. I don't really know. Thanks so much for that $10 super chat. Mr. Lord said, awesome. Unsubscribe and block. He got another song came out this summer called Cliche, and in the video he's dancing in front of this car wash that Britney Spears danced in front of in one of her music videos. So I think it's like a double wink to Cliche, because like, is it cliche to do, you know, to jump into this same exact music video of, you know, that Britney Spears did? And I think he's doing a similar dance. I wish I could like play the song, but I'm gonna get copyrighted immediately. But it's like so cute. The song he just wrote, it's like, he just put out this single. It's called Cliche. And he, is like dressed like a 2000s 90s boy. That's another one that definitely got multiple personalities in my opinion. I mean, he's a rapper, he's a rock star, he's a pop boy, he's Megan Fox's husband, baby daddy. I mean, he's who knows what he's gonna do next. But this specific song even has a little bit of like a country vibe too. It's like country punk pop. Tell me, would you wait for me? I'm a rolling stone, got a lot of right in me. I don't want to say this wrong. Tell me, would you wait for me? Baby, we can make this home. You could run away with me, even if you're better off alone. And he's like, I like that you like me. Kiss your lips, you got good taste. I like that you like me. I can close my eyes and draw your face if you. Anyway, it's cute. It's cute. I gotta get my cousins on that one. I wonder if Neem heard that song. Okay. Thanks so much to Lauren for the $3 super sticker. Yeah, I mean, hit me up in the email if y'all want to do a collab. I'm a vocalist, I'm a lyricist, and I can twirl in a music video. Okay. Oh no, I'm not gonna handle any slander like that, girl. I mean, Megan Fox is a weirdo. Yeah, and they do that weird blood ritual stuff too, them too. They're like, oh yeah, we only swap blood for, we need a separate page where we just do covers. I would do it. Wait, hold on. There's some demons in here I had to get out. Okay. Cover album, they're saying. Oh, that's weird. Adrian said a fan posted a picture of himself with David, and his license plate had her birthday and name on it. It was a van. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, my God. That would be so fun. I would do a karaoke night for sure. Okay. So this video is kind of serious. If you can't tell, I've kind of been stalling, but the time has come to talk about it. Technically speaking, this video is about Lady Duck, who is the alleged leader of the alleged criminal gang. They're being prosecuted by the feds. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but they are alleged to be members of a gang that were trafficking women, and specifically underage girls. That is the Nova. If y'all saw my Nova documentary that I did put out, I have part 2 coming this week. The Nova part 1, I did talk about it in that video. I did put it in there in the video. Nova from Soft White Underbelly, who is Tania's daughter, who is off and on No Jumper as well. So we're webbing all the way No Jumper, all the way, Soft White Underbelly. This guy, ATM Richie, had kind of said Nova was the 14-year-old that got trafficked in the Hoover indictment. So this is kind of like all the worlds kind of falling back onto each other, the webbing, and that's why I always say the web is webbing. So technically speaking, this video on Wig TV was posted 3 days ago. It's called "One of Lady Duck's Victims Got Organ Harvested." And this is in the RICO indictment. You could read about it in there. But one of the victims got organ harvested is the name of the video. However, the LAPD, the LA coroner, I mean, we're dealing with LA. LA is who we're dealing with here, because that's where the body was found. That's the tow lot that the car was, brought to. So LA is the same place that this Hoover indictment is allegedly going on. All right. So let me play you some of this video. Let me speed it up to, already got it on the sped up. Okay. There's a guy who made a video, and that's what Wig TV is showing this video. There's a guy who made a video, and he basically talks about how it works. Okay. Like how the child trafficking works. It's very, this might be a good time to click off if you're not interested in those details. But I think for me, this is educational. It's very important. This is a life or death situation, and it is absolutely newsworthy. So I do want to share it with you. If you can't watch it right now, I would highly encourage you to please come back and watch this section, or at the very least, go to this video on WIGTV. One of Lady Duck's victims got organ harvested, because there is some information in here I think you're going to want to know about. That being said, and without further ado, shout out to my probably cousin, WIGTV.
done their homework, and they really started it by piecing together everything about the Hoovers. Now, you know, we got some high-profile names on this case. Y'all know we got Lady Duck as the lead defendant on this case. And a lot of people ask, how's the only female on this case the lead defendant? For y'all that's in the city, y'all done heard her name before. Y'all may know her. You already know Lady Duck is not playing. She was already sitting down on the state case for 30 flocks and had a release date. And now the feds have put the squeeze on her, and they finna take everybody down to MD here. Y'all know.
Yeah, bro. Sound like they was trying to drive a hard bargain, bro. Make her an offer she couldn't refuse, bro. You know what I'm talking about? Convince her without convincing her. It's really.
So if you didn't get any of that, it doesn't matter. That's not the part that I was really trying to show y'all anyway. So it's coming up here. It's going to be like when I'm scrubbing, you can see this video here. You see how there's like a up and down, like a vertical video. That's what we're here for. That's who I want y'all to hear from. So it's coming up in a few seconds.
Some crazy shit, bro. I really wonder what happened to the little girl, you know what I'm saying? But we is finna get some insight as to what happens, you know what I'm saying, to a lot of these victims, bro. Allegedly, this, that, and the third. Cartel members spilling their beans, bro.
Okay, I already know why you're here. You know, some of y'all are here because y'all are wanting part 2 of what happens to the girls that get human trafficked. I already explained in part 1 what happens when they get captured in audio buildings until their client comes. Now,
the audio is absolute garbage. So I will pause every, so often and just kind of do a little bit of a recap of what he said. There's not anything else I can do about it. It's just like the actual audio is garbage. Like, and it's not WIGTV's fault. It's this video that this guy is talking about or in. It's like the wind is blowing. It's just not good audio. So I will stop and recap every so often. I think this is a life or death situation. I think it's very important that we all are aware of what this man is saying.
Okay, I already know why you're here. You know, some of y'all are here because y'all are wanting part 2 of what happens to the girls that get human trafficked. I already explained in part 1 what happens when they get captured and sent to those buildings until their client comes. Now, I'm about to explain what happens when the client comes to buy those girls. So, let's get started. So, when those girls get caught and when the human traffickers have a hold of them, they wait until the client comes. And when the client comes, and once he buys the girl,
hold on, let me put up a little thing in case I get. Yeah, there's like a lot of that type of stuff going on too with like corruption, evidence tampering. There's a lot of people doing like psychic readings and they kind of all are saying the same things. Oh, well, Danny, I Mark Safe from DMT. Mark Safe. I'll tell you one thing. I would never encourage anybody to do any psychoactive substances at all. However, I will say I was a whole ass atheist before I did dimethyltryptamine. Okay, so I only did it one time. Oh, I need to listen to Beaches, and I don't really plan to ever need to do it again. You just do the one time, and you have like an interface with the divine, and then you can never like be an atheist again. It's very strange. It's very strange. I can't really explain it, but I would never encourage anyone to do that, because again, I don't know where that even freaking stuff comes from. And it can probably have serious side effects. I mean, not everybody's God's favorite and protected from that stuff. So you do got to be very careful. Okay. I just wanted to put that disclaimer up there in case I get reported or something, because the purpose of this is education. I think is profoundly important that people know this information is not just like being handed out all over the place. Like someone's up here making a video about it and saying it. Oh, I think we need to listen.
So let's get started. So when those girls get caught and when the human traffickers have a hold of them, they wait until the client comes. And when the client comes, and once he buys the girl, they're usually being put into a vehicle that has no windows, like a van, or some sort of vehicle that they can easily hide them in. And usually the client, sometimes the client, doesn't look like a criminal at all. Sometimes it looks like like the everyday Joe. Because, as I said before, some of these clients are people that you would never expect, people that you think that you could trust.
Did I do that? I guess I did that. Okay, so we're talking about, well, we're listening to this man talk about what happens to girls in LA, I guess. You know, this is like specifically, you know, about the lady duck thing. So, like, what happens to these girls when they get in a situation of ficking? Beaches by who? Bee boo bee doo boo boo. I want to react to that song. I'm going to start doing reactions on my music channel. So y'all send me ThatSurpriseWitness@gmail.com. Y'all send me songs you want me to react to, because I'm going to start reacting live to music on my music channel. So Chill Murray is saying we found payment confirmation of $10,000 being paid each week to Celeste's parents. Somebody said, where did you find that? I would love to know. Chill Murray does have a YouTube channel. He may have made a video. I think it is similar to the 5MEO, but it's not the same thing. Where's my, I want to put my disclaimer back up before we move forward. It will absolutely humble you. That is not something that you should do at a party. I'm telling y'all that. Listen, I can't stop you from doing stuff, but if you're going to mess around with dimethyltryptamine, which is DMT, you should absolutely not do it in a crowded party. You should do it in a very quiet place where you trust people around, because you like actually have the tendency to, we'll say, dissociate. I did not meet the machine elves. No, I did not. No, I went straight past beyond all of them. I went blew right past every planet, every machine elf, I went straight past all of that. I didn't mean none of that. I went straight to source. But yes, don't do any drugs, anybody. Do not do them. Okay. It's like 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes. They used to call it the business trip. This is for educational and safety public service announcement purposes. Nope. I might be the machine elf that y'all are meeting. I might be the elf. Okay, let's get back to this video. He's telling you what happens to these children, and it's not good. It's kind of scary. Very scary.
You know, they say the true stranger than fiction, bro. Get this, he called them clients.
Like, you know, judges, or, you know, I've never seen a police chief come in there, but I've heard of it before. I've heard of happening before.
Judges
and
buying children.
See, you know, just, you know, people like that you would just never expect, or some rich ass motherfucker, you know what I mean? And basically, what those clients do with those girls, well, there's a variety of things. Let's get started. First one, they turn those girls into breeders. Basically, a breeder is basically when that happens, they go ahead and they get bought, and it's sad to say, but all right, my bad. There was a little girl in her.
Apparently, the music stops at some point in like a minute and a half, but the music is kind of what's making the audio kind of bad right now.
Mom or sister or whoever is walking past me, I feel bad. All right, so look, a breeder is basically when a client buys a girl from the cartel or off any human trafficking organization or family, and they buy the girl, they get her pregnant, and they keep her nice and healthy for the 9 months.
A breeder. You know what I'm talking about? You took somebody's family member, bro, somebody's child, bro, and called them a breeder.
Months of, you know, that she's pregnant, so the baby comes out healthy, because, you know, he sells the baby. And depending on who the client is, depends, you know, on, if what happens to the baby ends up being bad or good. Because sometimes these clients are, you know, widows, or their mothers who have lost children to death or to CPS that are extremely rich, and like sometimes they're not allowed to have kids, so they buy them off, you know, the client, and or off the cartel sometimes, because you know they do that sometimes as well. And let's see, or the sad batch that happens to those babies is that sometimes, you know, there's birth complications, right? And sometimes those babies end up dead because of those birth complications. And I'm not talking about the baby that was given birth to by the breeder. I'm talking about like moms, you know.
Sometimes the children that are giving birth don't survive childbirth. So they're like actually buying people. And then when they buy the children, he's calling them girls, he's calling them babies. They sometimes will have them perform the function of, he's calling it a breeder, which is a very, very dehumanizing way to refer to someone who's enslaved. That being said, that is probably what they are called by some group. So, I mean, I do appreciate he's telling us what they're called or whatever, but like the function is for them to have children, and then the children either get sold, he said, or just taken and like adopted, basically just taken by like a family and adopted. Now that would be probably like the nicest outcome for a baby that was born. But he's saying sometimes the mothers that are giving birth, they don't survive childbirth. They don't survive it.
So he basically saying like if say like somebody is born with a birth defect, or you know what I'm talking about, they use the little breeder babies as like, like replacement babies type shit, like basically like car parts, bro. You know what I'm talking about? When something break on your car and then they gotta replace it like that, bro.
They give birth, there's birth complications sometimes, and sometimes the baby won't survive. So with that being said, sometimes those babies that get, given birth to by the breeder, they end up getting used. So then, the organs get taken out, or whatever that baby needs, that had the birth complication gets, whatever it needs from the baby that got birthed by the breeder. So sometimes, that happens, and it's pretty sad, you know what I mean? It's pretty sad because the mother that's because the breeder that's giving birth to these babies, it mentally it scars them for life.
Yeah.
At that point, like, they don't even want to live anymore. They beg for death. And the sad part is, she can't even have death. It's just going to keep happening. And there's no way that no one can stop it. She can't stop it. You know what I mean? There's a very slight chance that it will never stop.
See, bro sound too experienced. You know what I'm talking about? He sound like he got too much inside knowledge, bro. You know what I'm talking about? This shit ain't good, fool.
And sometimes those babies that get birthed by the breeder, they don't always get sold as babies. Sometimes the client will have a business of his own, obviously, as I was just speaking about, and they go ahead and they and they let that kid grow up a little bit, like maybe they're 10 years old or 7 or 8, and whenever a mom needs or whenever like needs like a replacement son or replacement daughter, or needs the organs of another kid to save their kid's life, that's what they usually go for. And that's like usually like the main purposes, or sometimes I was by them as well, and it's just absolutely disgusting. I'm so against it. It makes me so mad. It angers me so much. You have no idea. That is the one client I did not respect.
So they will purchase the babies for any and all types of manners of things, including harvesting their organs or PDF files. Philia, this man just said. I don't know if this is true. I saw a few people in the comments saying that y'all don't believe this man. Maybe he's not particularly trustworthy, but I do not think he just pulled this out of the thin blue sky. I think he heard this from somewhere, and I think it's probably happening somewhere. Even if it's not happening here, I'm not saying this necessarily will happen with David, with Celeste, okay? But I am saying this is a real problem, child trafficking. Like, there's a real problem. So when people are out here like throwing around what seem and appear to be inside words, like breeder, I'm going to take heed. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to share it with my audience so that perhaps it can help you and your children, your family, to stay safer by arming you with some type of information. Okay. I don't know if this is true or not. I never met this man, but what he's saying totally tracks with what I know to be true about the world so far. So I don't have a real hard time believing it personally. Let's listen further.
He talking about that is the one client I don't respect. Bro, you shouldn't respect none of these clients, bro. This is some human trafficking shit, bro. These people, all type of shit happening to these people. You acting like, here you go with the lesser of two evils, bro. This shit, wow, though. And then, it's a tricky thing, bro, because you never know who involved in this shit. Look at bro, he look normal. He just look like he walking down the street. The kid and her mama who was walking down the street probably don't know what illicit activities he done been involved with, bro. Don't know they just walked past a psychopath.
Sorry, my bad. I'm just letting my feelings get over me right now. All right, so let's continue. Sometimes pedophiles buy them, and that's sad too. You know what? I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's talk about something else. And I guess the same thing that happens to those babies or those babies that end up growing up, the same thing that happens to them is kind of the same thing that happens to those girls that get bought by other clients. And sometimes other clients, if they're not doing that, then the clients buy girls to, they just buy them simply just to torture them to death. And, sometimes these people are doctors or surgeons. People, as I say, it'd be people that you would never expect. Rich-ass surgeons or, rich-ass doctors and shit from rich-ass towns.
It's kind of interesting
Come all the way over here.
It's kind of interesting that he's like, there's surgeons. Whenever earlier I was like, they have to be desensitized because like, how do you do a surgery where you're like cutting into a live body? I mean, without being somewhat desensitized to it. So like, I mean, it's very interesting that, maybe the surgeons got their dopamine receptors fried too. Certainly not all of them. Again, like I said, everybody in the whole world has a different reaction to a traumatic thing. I mean, I bet a lot of surgeons would not actually even characterize their job as being traumatic. I personally know surgeons. I don't think that they are doing any of this crazy stuff, but it does just make me wonder, like, is some of that, explaining to where it's like, okay, well, now they can't get excited or aroused over other stuff. So they got to be doing torture and stuff. Cause that at first it was like, yeah, sometimes it's the PDF files. Sometimes it is the, organs, but sometimes it's just to truly to inflict pain and torture upon another individual. And these people, he's saying they were buying people for that purpose, to torture them. I believe it. I don't know if I believe him specifically. I mean, like if he was that involved in it, why would he be on Instagram talking about it? Maybe he had to change conscious, change of mind. I really don't know. I kind of believe it. I mean, we all saw Hostel. Even that was probably a desensitizing agent.
And since they know what the doing, they know how to keep the girl alive for as long as they possibly can. They know how to keep them alive for a long time.
Real movie shit, bro. You got to admit that, bro. So you telling me like on a scary movie when the doctor, bro, he'd be a psychopath doctor or some shit, and he'd drug the patients. He'd have a whole dungeon full of them, bro. Type shit. He's telling us that it be real life professionals going to go, buy illicit shit people, bro. You know what I'm talking about? On some human trafficking type shit. This shit is wild. Nasty work.
Inflicting as much pain as they possibly can without them. It's really good. Or sometimes these girls get bought from, rich, really rich royal families from overseas.
Royal families?
Like Colombia or families down in India, you know what I mean? Like, real royal families come down here as well. And they go ahead and they buy a girl to marry and all that. A beautiful, beautiful woman to marry. That's just what they do sometimes. So yeah, that's another type of client that pops up in those buildings sometimes.
And you know what this really makes me think of again is Whoa Vicky. Like in my mind, I sincerely believe that she was being human trafficked and maybe still is specifically sex trafficked. But, she's come out since I made my videos and she said, she's not trapped. She's not being held against her will. She's even made jokes about it. So like at this point, I mean, until the authorities get involved, there's really nothing else I can do. There's nothing else I can do. Whenever somebody comes out and makes a public statement and says, haha, I'm not being trafficked, haha, there's just nothing else that I can do. My hands are tied because I don't have any evidence beyond what I've already said. It's all just public stuff. But it's like every time I think about Whoa Vicky, this like unexplainable, heavy, dark weight just like sits on me almost. Like I just feel like something is going on that's not good in that situation. But that being said, she has come out and said she's fine. She's not being held against her will. All that. I don't know. I do know she's getting all them tattoos removed. And what do we find out about tattoos and branding and all of that? Again, webbing right back into this story about right back into this story about organ harvesting and branding and the Hoover RICO and all of that.
Oh, and also in some very, very, very rare cases, yeah, as I was saying, and also in some very rare cases, those girls that get caught or get kidnapped end up getting bought back, by the family. You know what I mean? Kind of like a hostage situation.
Yeah, that's some crazy shit, bro. And bro seemed like he having flashbacks and hella shit. Like, that shit stuck on his brain, bro. Cartel gonna get him for stealing shit. He ain't say too much, but he said too much at the same time. It's crazy.
Type shit. Like, oh, you want your daughter back here? Or, oh, you want your mom back? You want your, like your niece, your aunt? All right, pay this much. Then we'll usually charge him the same amount as any other client would buy, you know what I mean? Or pay for it. And, yeah. Oh, yeah, and then at other times, I've had clients, request, girls that look really, 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 really similar to people that they know or love. So, like, some psychopaths will go ahead and buy girls that look exactly like their ex-wife that they killed off. And then, they just keep bringing them back and killing them. Or sometimes they, buy a girl that looks exactly like their ex-wife because they just want them to take their place and all that, right? Crazy shit.
It reminds me of, listen, I know y'all about to get mad, but it reminds me of Bianca Censori. When I see a picture of her, I can't tell that if it's her or Kim Kardashian. Truly, I can't. I mean, I would hope and like to think that Kanye's not involved in all that stuff, but like at this point.
And a lot of similar things happen with other clients. Like they'll give us a picture and we'll find a girl that looks exactly like that girl. So then they can be, the replacement in the family. You know what I mean? Or some serial killer that just wants to kill the same girl over and over again in his mind. So yeah, that's the main gist of what happens to these girls. I mean, I'll tell you more, but I can go on and on. I think you guys are getting tired of it already. So I'm gonna come up with a different topic to talk about in the next one. See you guys later. Peace out.
We ain't never tired of trying to save the children, bro. Save innocent people, victims, whatever. How you spreading awareness of it at least. This shit sound diabolical, bro. He say some people will have them go look for people that look like people that they didn't already kill. You know what I'm talking about? And so they could keep, bro. This shit diabolical. It's some nasty. I hope Lady Duck bought that girl, bro. And see, the lesser of two evils. See how that shit'll work out, bro. Because ain't no telling what they was gonna.
So. Somebody said, Big Baby said, does the Hoover RICO involve people trafficking? I mean, yes. Short answer, yeah. Short answer, yes. There's mention of specifically organ trafficking. So there was this one part of the Hoover RICO indictment that said that somebody called Lady Duck, her name is Amaya Armstead on the birth certificate, or on her, driver's license, whatever, and Amaya Armstead, they called her and said, do you want to buy this girl off of me? Because if you don't buy her, I'm going to sell her to the organ traffickers. And if you don't buy her, I'm going to sell her to the organ traffickers. And apparently, allegedly, according to the indictment, Lady Duck said, what does she look like? So that's how it kind of, links back in. Feds are a part of it too. CPS is involved. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be complicity within there. Yeah. Okay. So this specific case, they think he's talking about the cartel. I mean, I don't know. This man could be making something up. Okay. He could be making something up. I really don't know. In my spirit, I feel like he's probably telling the truth. Even if it's not him involved in it or whatever, I do feel like this stuff goes on and this is what they think of women and girls. I do not think that this is something that is unusual. I think that it goes on a lot. And just think about Celeste. Just think about Celeste Rivas. If she had not been, if her body hadn't been found in a trunk, would we? I certainly wouldn't know she exists. So how many babies could she have had in the last year and a half? I mean, could she have had 2? Could she have had 1? She went missing February 2020. Yeah, she could have had 2 babies you know, unaccounted for, no birth certificate, somewhere in a warehouse. I mean, this can happen. And I think it does. This can happen, and I think it does. And that brings me to one other thing that I wanted to bring up yesterday, and I just skipped it on accident. Chill Murray said David confirmed on the Discord she was pregnant in June. Okay, so did they take the baby and she wanted to keep it and then they had to get rid of her? Where's the baby? This is crazy. Orchid said, I unironically, I had the same conversation with a friend recently. She said, I inquired why she can handle gore so easily in movies. And whenever it comes on in movies, y'all, whenever there's like guns and fighting and blood and cutting and slicing and on stuff, you can find me doing this. That's how I'm doing. Ask anybody in my life. I'm doing this. And then whenever it's over, because you can clearly tell because the like loud like knife clanging or the bang bang boom boom stops. And then you can look back at the TV again. I don't look at it. I don't even look at it in movies. No, I don't. But Orchid said, I had the same conversation with a friend recently. I inquired why she can handle gore so easily in movies. And she mentioned that her friends used to watch videos in high school. I have it up on the screen. You can read it for yourself if you want to. See no evil, girl. See no evil. I mean, I try not to put it on in my house too, Monica. Truly. But the issue is like you can't even watch like a show. You can't even watch like a show on TV without like a scene, you know, popping up here and there. So, generally if it's like too gratuitous, I will turn it off. Yeah, and the thing is, just a random YouTube user, like sometimes I feel like, how do we really know it in movies it's fake? You know, like how many people could we have watched just being tortured and whatever, like never saw those actors again and anything else. I mean, did they buy people to do that in movies and then made a movie out of it to act like it was a movie? I mean, I'm so tinfoil hat, y'all. He flat out said that he has had clients request. Yeah, I mean, he seems pretty desensitized. He does seem pretty desensitized. I mean, this is a totally different thing, Jessica, but I will say that does add to it. She said she grew up on a farm. This is animals. We talk about animals. And I know, you know, people have their feelings about animals and how it's harmful. I'm pretty much a vegetarian at this point. Like if I'm somewhere where there's meat and I like that meat, I will eat it. But generally, I just like don't eat meat, especially in the United States, if I can help it, because we don't really know where this meat is even freaking come from. They're abusing and torturing these animals. They're pumping them up with all kind of stuff that I don't really know. I don't even want to eat. And then they have probably cortisol through the roof to these poor animals that are stored the way they are. And then all this hormones and all this, you know, all this is in their bodies and then we eating it. No, thank you. But I will eat meat sometimes. I'm not like a purist about it. But all that being said, watching something be done to another human being isn't the same as watching it being done to an animal. It's just not, because we are human beings. Yes, we are animals, but like another human being is just as different. Desensitization to being able to catch your own food and clean your own food is morally in a totally different category than desensitization to watching extreme gratuitous violence upon another human for no reason or for reasons of war. Even self-defense. I mean, watching somebody, you know, unalive another person in self-defense is morally on a different level than watching somebody do it for fun. But we are not meant to have to unalive other human beings to survive on this planet. But to survive on this planet, you do have to unalive either a plant being, an animal being. So like growing up on a farm and being, you know, accustomed to watching a chicken get its head cut off is not, in my opinion, the same in any way as beheading videos by the cartel. In my opinion, Y'all can disagree. I know a lot of people are like, it's just the same thing. You shouldn't see animals and humans as different. Maybe I shouldn't. And I do agree it's not good to like harm anything to eat it. I just don't think killing a chicken or a cow on the farm or shooting a deer that you're going to eat is the same as watching gore. I don't. But I don't want to watch it either. All that being said, I'm very sensitive to watching a chicken get its head cut off. I mean, I grew up on the bayou. I've watched people skin and scale and fillet and flay thousands of critters and animals. I mean, everything from a fish, a snake, a bird. I have watched everything you can imagine get skinned and flayed, and it's traumatizing. It is. Or like the crawfish boils, you playing with the crawfish and 10 minutes later you eating it after you boiled it alive. I mean, there's some really bad stuff going on. It hurts the animals, okay? But I just don't think it's this. We are humans. So watching other humans like for fun take other people's life isn't morally what we're supposed to be doing. I think it messes you up. That being said, yeah, Alec must be from Louisiana. You use as much as the byproducts as possible. You really respect the animal. You use the hoofs, you use the brain, you use the intestine. I mean, the whole thing gets used. Okay. Anyway, that being said, I wanted to show y'all one other thing because there has been there's been a lot of talk, and even myself, I've talked about, hold on, I need to change there has been a lot of talk about, her parents, Celeste's parents. They are just as guilty. They are just as bad. And why aren't they around? Where's the dad, first of all? Never even heard a peep out of him. And this mom, well, she knew her daughter was missing, but she didn't call the cops. Or she knew this daughter was missing and she didn't this and that. She must have known her daughter was with a grown man, this and that. Well, they're called breeders and cults too. Interesting to know. So somebody sent me an email about this. And it kind of made me think about the situation a little differently. So I wanted to share it with y'all. It might make you think of things differently as well. It may give some context to you just to let you hear another perspective. So she says, "Hi, everyone keeps asking why the cops didn't help more with bringing that girl home." She says, "But LA has different laws regarding runaways. If they happen to run into them, they may bring them home, but cops won't really go looking for them. It's not a crime for minors to run away in LA. I think it's done under the guise of protecting kids from abusive parents. Of course, with the debauchery that goes on in LA, it's not hard to see what it's really for." Honestly, her mom may be getting an undeserved reputation, an undeserved bad reputation. She may not have, quote, let her run away like it looks. She doesn't speak English, which I'm sure makes everything difficult. True. These are points. It says Celeste ran away before. Here's something squeaking. Celeste ran away before and they got her back home only for David to take her again. He had enough money and other people's help to keep her hidden. And on top of that, the cops probably wouldn't provide much assistance to find her. The cops in LA notoriously can be bought. That's true. That is true. And he had all the right connections with his record label. Another thing, not saying that I think he's innocent because I don't know, but people are talking about him still going on tour, but he really didn't have a choice in that. He is owned by that record label. You can't just back out of those tours. Look at what happened with Justin Bieber. Imagine what they would do to David, who's just getting started. That guy whose name is on his lease is 100% a Corey Gamble, Lou Taylor type handler. There's no telling what happened to Celeste, considering the environment she was in. Just a few things I haven't saw people covering this case mention. So I thought you may want to look into. So admittedly, I have not actually looked into this, but I wanted to run it by y'all because I did really find the first part of this to be compelling. It has some compelling points. If it is true that it's not actually a crime for a minor to run away in LA, even if it is truly to protect kids from abusive parents, I mean, I don't know, like if the cops ran into Celeste, she could have said, well, my mom beats me and I'm not safe over there at my house. Like I'm safe with David. So I want to stay here. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that's what happened, but these are things that I didn't really think about before. So I did want to bring that up to y'all as well, just to let you, have that to contemplate, to think about. That's all I really had for this one. I will be back maybe today or maybe tomorrow. If I'm back today, it probably won't be with another David update unless something really important happens. Cece said I did think of that. Cece did think of it. If I come back today, it might be on something else different, not David. If I don't come back today, I'll probably just be back tomorrow. I mean, there's updates every day. So hopefully we do get some more information about a motive or about, possible co-conspirators, possible who actually did it, if it's not David, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, yeah, I was looking at that. KB said, check out Reckless Ben. He did a video on a Valentine guy who made gory movies that seem very, very real. Yes. And then didn't he get sued? Thanks so much for the $20 super chat. Heather, a little behind in the live, but I just had gallbladder surgery. Ugh, I had that before. Ugh, it's terrible. Trying not to break something in my body from laughing at the bopping to the song after that rude ass comment. Keep on keeping on. Do y'all see how these encrusted individuals, these inflamed beasts, come over here to my channel trying to talk to me? It's very strange. It's very strange. Thank you for $20. Thank you, Alec, for the $25 super chat. So this one time I bought a blank chocolate bar at the shop that took that with some 420 and it reset my serotonin receptors. I would not recommend doing that, though. It was the scariest thing of your life. The brain is fascinating. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing it either. I'm glad it worked out. Thank you for the $25 super chat. Thanks so much, Danielle, for the $5 super chat. Stop by to support you, BJ. Your lives are during the busiest part of my workday, but I caught a few chops today. Shout out to you, Danielle. I'll be going live at different times too in the future. This is just what I'm doing right now. Thanks so much for that $5. Thank you, Sour Girl, for the $1.99. I don't work for you. It's true. It is so true. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Shout out to you, Mr. Lord, again for that $10 super chat. Thank you, Belinda, for the $2 Canadian super sticker. Thanks so much, Lauren, for the $3 super sticker. Thanks so much, K-Rock, for the $4.99 super sticker. Thank you, JC, being a member for 10 months. I believe that instantly because there's multiple public officials and judges getting caught here in Utah. Also, oh my Lord. Oh my God. I'm so sorry to hear that, JC. JC, oh my God, that is terrible. I am so sorry to hear that. Nobody should ever have to go through something like that. I believe it too. And I do need to look into those judges. Thank you for being a member for 10 months. I do need to look into those judges that, sorry, I got distracted by y'all's comments. I don't even remember what I was saying now. But anyway, that's all I really. Oh, my music name is Gorianna. Spelled like that. Anyway, yeah, hit me up. ThatSurpriseWitness@gmail.com if you want to collab on a song. Gorianna is my YouTube channel name. I think I'm on Spotify. Judge Kevin Christensen. Yeah, I wanted to look into that judge in Utah situation. Anyway, that's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Love you, Minnie K. Bye.